Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of 100 Yards Football Sports Talk Radio. I'm your host and producer, Logan Landers. And joining me here today to talk about the legend, the undrafted legend per se, Tom Brady, a man who has wreaked havoc over all of our teams, doesn't matter who you are. Help me out today. It's my guy, Jay McLovin. Jay, how you doing, my friend? And I know we did a video on Tom Brady a while back, but we're here to kind of just bring it up and just kind of highlight the fact that yes, this guy was very late in the draft. I mean, my God, he got picked super late, and we all know what he did. But go ahead and tell us what you got about Tom Brady today.
Yeah, absolutely, Logan. Yeah, Tom Brady, Thomas Edward Patrick Brady, to be exact. It was one of those guys that could do just a lot of things. I don't even remember. I can't remember how many comebacks this guy has done. It's been quite a few. The last biggest one I can remember was that Super Bowl against the Falcons.
Yeah.
I really thought Landers was going to take it, and of course, you know how that turned out.
Oh yeah, Jay, I know exactly how that turned out. And so did everyone. So did everyone in the area, and that's what we're talking about. Tom, obviously, he wasn't undrafted. I got mixed up on the titles there. He's the steal of the draft. And I mean, yeah, obviously. I mean, that's how good he is.
You know what, though? He was the first quarterback to ever wear gloves on their hands.
Really? I didn't know that.
I can't think of any other. I can't think of any other quarterback. And I've been thinking and looking back, I can't think of any other quarterback that actually wore gloves.
Prior to him.
Yeah, prior to him, if there's one out there, I'd like to know who he was.
Let us know in the comments.
Yeah, let me know. But he's the first one, and I remember when he did it too. And I think it was during either the cold game or a wet game, where he felt like he wasn't having enough traction on the ball, so he started wearing those gloves. But anywho, talk about steal the draft. I mean, we're talking like late sixth round. Well, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was like. He was in the high 200s, wasn't he, Logan? Like 280 or 290?
You just missed it. It was pick 199.
199, yeah. So he was right there at the end, almost at the end of that sixth round. I mean, that's a lot of teams that passed up on Thomas Edward Patrick Brady, I can tell you that. The guy's got 7 Super Bowls, 7. And we talked about Bart Starr earlier.
Yep.
And I told you he had 5 championships and 2 Super Bowls. And I said, Logan, could you imagine if those championships were actually Super Bowls, before the Super Bowl was actually the Super Bowl? I mean, between him and Bart Starr, I think are the 2 best quarterbacks ever to play the game of football. And I think everybody else, the Montanas, the Staubachs and stuff, I think they kind of just fall up underneath those guys. But, yeah, and of course, out of the 7 Super Bowls, 5 Super Bowls, he was the MVP. I mean, that's just incredible. He had 3 league MVP, 2 Offensive Player of the Year awards, Comeback Player of the Year award, 15 Pro Bowls in 23 seasons. I mean, it's impressive. I mean, that stat line alone is impressive to tell you that he's a steal of the draft. Not only was he a steal of the draft, I mean, he made a lot of people look stupid. I mean, what was he doing? I mean,
yeah, you're not kidding.
But 335 games for his career, 64.3% completion rate, Logan. I mean, there's not another quarterback out there, I think, that has a better career completion rate than Thomas Edward Patrick Brady. It was 89,214 yards passing, Logan. I mean, we're not too far off from 90,000 yards passing.
No.
At 649 touchdowns, Logan. 649. That's a lot of.
That's more than a couple. That's more than like a whole division's worth of teams in a season would score. It is insane.
And you know what's insane is the fact that New England let him walk, only to see him go and get to the Super Bowl with Tampa. In theory, they really should have maybe held on to him a little longer. They probably could have had 7 Super Bowls out there in New England, but it didn't happen that way for him. Yeah. And again, I call him the comeback kid because the guy had 46 comebacks and 58 game-winning drives. I don't know how much more of a comeback kid you want than that. He's the only quarterback in the NFL to win 200 games, Logan. 200. and he rushed 693 times for 1,123 yards. Now, what do I know about the rushing? He wasn't a big rusher. He wasn't a
great that wasn't his strength.
Yeah, I think Lamar did what Tom did in his entire career.
Lamar did in 6 weeks.
Like one season. Yeah, it's insane. And also, the last thing, fun fact about Tom Brady is he appeared in Family Guy and The Simpsons.
Ah, okay. Yeah, nice little. And with Tom, and I'm more so going to focus on the draft. The 99 draft, the draft where we know Tom Brady was selected, right? And the draft in 2000, rather. And Jay, I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna look at the list of just players drafted in the 2000 draft and see who were some of the good players, right? The really, really solid players. So obviously, we're looking round one. You had a couple of guys make Pro Bowls and whatnot. And obviously, Brian Urlacher, top 10 pick, made the Hall of Fame not too long ago.
Right.
But Jay, I'm looking, I'm seeing a lot of Pro Bowlers, which, like I said, a lot of them are first round for the most part. So still looking here, still, scrolling. No, nothing yet. Yep, you're another Pro Bowler. But then, like you said, we get all the way down to pick 199, and you get Tom Brady.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of guys between, the first round, which has produced, Jay, not just a few Hall of Fame, the only Hall of Famer at this time of this recording. Right. There in this draft has only produced one Hall of Famer at this time because obviously he's going to go in. It tells you that everyone was just overlooking this guy. Everyone was overlooking this guy. Brian Urlacher, great player. But you can't compare them. Not just because they play different positions, but in terms of just what they did. I mean, you mentioned the stats for Brady. I don't have to go through them again. And the heartbreak of this literally is the definition of a guy who the game ain't over until the clock hits zero. Because my God, if you had 20 seconds left on the clock and you were on the 1 yard line, and normally you're thinking, oh yeah, this is going to be a cakewalk,
Mm-hmm.
Not with Tom. And honestly, and granted, I am younger. The only player I can see nowadays kind of replicating that is over there in Kansas City with Patrick Mahomes. Because he's someone, and to like Tom Brady in the sense of it ain't over till it's over. Because like you said, Tom, he can chuck it if he needs to. He more so went short yard, which is why his completion percentage was so good. But hey, it worked obviously. But that's why I kind of equate the two in terms of their ability to come back, their ability to get it done in crunch time. And obviously Tom was the master of that. We talked about Bart Starr earlier. We talked about Roger Staubach before. All those guys, great. But, man, Tom just took it to a next level with how he was able to throw the ball. All of the guys that maybe if they didn't have Tom Brady as a quarterback wouldn't have had a career in the NFL or much of a talented, much of a storied one. I mean, we've talked about Edelman, we've talked about Welker. And, I mean, if they weren't in that system with Brady as their quarterback, who's to say how well their careers would have been? I mean, this is not just a guy who individually was great, but he made everyone around him better. If you were on that offense, this guy was a dream to play with. The countless running backs, O-linemen, wide receivers, tight ends he had, he made all of them look great. Kind of like how with Michael and LeBron did in the NBA. They're the stars and they know it. But you're not truly a star and a team player unless you make your team around you better. And that's what Tom did. He made everyone look great. He knew, and also we got to throw credit to Bill Belichick as well. He drew up the game plans for Tom to execute. So was this guy to steal the draft? Of course. He's only going to be the second Hall of Famer from this class at this moment. Like I said, Brian Urlacher went in not too long ago, but also Urlacher retired many years before this guy. Because let's not forget, this guy, Jay, he played until he was in his 40s.
Yeah, he did.
Which is not very common. You see it every once in a while with quarterbacks, but also you see their play tip off. But I mean, for him, his play, even in his last year, it wasn't like he was the worst quarterback in the league or anything. He was still a good quarterback. And as a mortal enemy of his for my team, glad he's gone. My God, I'm glad he's gone. That was why whenever he came back for another year, I was like, oh, dang, really? Come on. And plus, he tortured the Falcons in with the Buccaneers last couple of years, so that wasn't fun for us either. But, yeah, Tom Brady. God, a lot of people hate him, but, God, you can't help but respect him because of how good he was. That's what all the greats do. You might not like him, but you can sit back, relax like we're doing here, and say, man, you were good. You were good, not just against my team, but against every team. And I think everyone knows that about Tom Brady. Well, Jay, appreciate you coming on the show, my friend, talking about the steal of the 2000 NFL Draft, Tom Brady, former quarterback for the New England Patriots, and, of course, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. For Jay McLevin of the Elite Sports and Entertainment Network, I've been your host and producer, Logan Landers. Guys, we'll talk to you again on another live episode.